Hiya, welcome to Craftwerk. I'm Ruthie and today I'm back with yet another peppermint jumpsuit. Now, if you haven't seen my last video, which is a full review on this pattern, go and check it out now. I'm not doing another review, don't worry, but I wanted to talk about a few different things following that video and following my second make of this jumpsuit. So I feel like I did that review a little bit quickly, like I hadn't been wearing it for a day, so like I hadn't come across some of the issues with this pattern. The main issue being getting in and out of it. Now, it's a jumpsuit, we know they're annoying to go to the loo in, but this one really takes the biscuit in that sense because it's got a zip on the back, which, I'm sorry, I know I have quite short arms, but I can't be the only one that struggles to do and undo this zip up, especially in some ways because it's a concealed zip. Yeah, it tends to be like harder to find their small little zip things, and you can't just put like string in it, if that makes sense. Like, does anyone else do that? If you put like some string through the hole of a zip on a dress, then you can pull it up and pull it down. I don't like having to rely on my boyfriend to help me get dressed. I can't imagine what it's like for someone who is single or who lives by themselves or just doesn't have access to someone to do it, because I don't have full-time access to someone to get me in and out of my clothes. So it always annoys me when women's clothes are designed so that you have to rely on another person. Like, there aren't men's clothes like that, but yet we come across this issue quite a lot with dresses and now with jumpsuits. So I'm sorry in the folds. I love the peppermint jumpsuit. It looks great, but what's the point in that zip? So since making that video, I obviously struggled going to the loo a little bit. And I ended up just doing away with the zip. I could kind of shimmy in and out of it without touching the zip. So that was okay, but it wasn't great, and I did end up ripping the V on the neckline. So then I kind of went back in a little bit, took it apart a little bit and deepened the V, which obviously kind of mended the rip, or got past there being a rip there, but also meant that the whole neckline's a little bit bigger, so it's easier to get in and out of. So now I've just got a concealed zip, which was one of the hardest parts of that pattern anyway. That is just null and void. It's not being used at all. I might unpick it and take it out somehow because that's just annoying, to be honest. It's just pointless. But also in my review, I talked about some other adjustments that I wanted to make to the fit. Whilst I really love that black jumpsuit, and I have worn it constantly, especially since I've altered it a bit, and it fits fine, I really wanted to just work on the fit a little bit more for my second one. So this is it. It's in a red linen because linen is amazing. This red really stood out. It's quite bright. At first, when I finished this jumpsuit, I was like, nope, I'm a big red blob. This isn't going to work. I might have to dye it. But since then, I've actually decided I quite like it. I love like plain bright colours as well. And at the moment it feels super wearable, but because it is just one plain colour, I'm sure in the future if I decide I don't like red anymore or whatever, then I can quite easily dye it. So the first change that I made was I just did away with the zip completely because I knew I was going to deepen the neckline to make sure that I would have enough space to get in and out of it without having to rely on someone else. Someone on my last video suggested putting the zip in the front, which is something that you could do as well if you prefer that, but you would definitely need it either in the front or in the back. I think if you had it in the side, you would struggle because it's about this whole like neckline, getting that over your hips. I'm saying all this, of course, if you don't have hips like mine, you might be absolutely fine, but still, why would you need the zip? this just again feeds back into I don't see the point. Unless you are a bit of a contortionist or you've got longer arms than me. I have got shorter arms than most people, I know that, but I still think that that's an uncomfortable thing to have to deal with, especially if you're like out and about, like at the pub and stuff. You're already wearing a jumpsuit, you're already having to get naked to go to the loo, to then add in having to like contort your body to undo and then do up a zip, it just poses all sorts of issues. And then especially if you're using the tie, there's no like belt loops either, so you undo the tie completely and you have to put that somewhere if there's no hooks. This is not the most practical jumpsuit pattern in the world, put it that way. Anyway, back to the adjustments. So other than just removing the zip and just skipping that step, I made a few fitting adjustments that I talked about wanting to do in my last video, and a few of you said you'd like to know how I make those adjustments. So particularly for people who have big bottoms, then this is for you. I am not an adjustment or fit or pattern adjusting expert, but I use a few techniques that seem to work for me. Now, the other thing is, these are very like quick and dirty techniques, and I don't think they're very proper, but they work for me, so I don't know if it matters. But particularly with the trouser adjustment, I learnt that partly from going to a course at Sew Over It, the Ultimate Trousers course. I learnt a little bit about trouser adjustment there, and then since then it's about practicing, and I've also referred to a blog post on the Closet Case Patterns blog, which is I think focused on jeans fitting, but obviously works for all trousers, and she describes those techniques as kind of quick and dirty techniques as well. So I think, or whatever, she describes them as techniques that aren't necessarily like officially the best way to alter patterns, but they're techniques that work for in most cases, and they work for me, so that's what I mainly refer to. But I thought I would show you in a video what I did to the pattern in order to get it to fit like this, which is pretty much perfect. So the first thing I did was deepen the V, as I said, partly because I knew I would need to get it over my hips, but also in my last video you'll see that I felt that the V-neck at the front wasn't as flattering on me and maybe just needed to be a little bit lower, just to suit my body shape a little bit more. Whatever I did to the main front piece, I also needed to do to the facing. So I literally I knew that what I'd done on my black one when I'd ripped it was only take about half an inch away. So I deepened the V by about an inch, and then I just graded it up very simply to the line, and I kind of eyeballed that, and then, as I say, I copied that onto the facing. The next thing I did was to lower the bust dart, which, as I said in my last peppermint jumpsuit video, was something that I needed to do. I had shortened the bust dart anyway when I made my first one, because I felt that it just went in too much and created too much of a point. So I'd shortened it, which meant that I still had the shaping, but it didn't come to such a point. For this one, I moved the bust dart down, and I did this in a very quick and dirty way, literally by just moving it down an inch or so. Where the extra fabric comes to a point on the side, I just cut that off and moved it down to where I would want it to be. So I really don't think that that's the right way of doing it, but it's worked, and now I think the bust darts are in the perfect place for me and it looks right. So what are you going to do? Like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. These are my techniques and they work. The next bit is always an adjustment I need to make on trousers, and it's because I've got kind of a big bum, which creates like a shorter crotch. I don't really know, but the main thing is I end up getting a bit of a wedgie at the back and then loads of excess fabric at the front. So the way that I alter that is I extend the back crotch curve and I shorten the front crotch curve. I do this, as I say, using techniques from the blog post by Closet Case by Heather Lou, and I literally just take the leg in so that the curve on the front ends up being about an inch shorter, and then I bring the back one out quite a lot more, if that makes sense. I tend to eyeball that, and I think in this case it's worked pretty well. I definitely could shorten the front crotch curve a little bit more. Unfortunately, if I just started taking it in, then I would get to a point where obviously there's no curve left. So my next step will be to do a proper like short crotch adjustment. Don't know if that's the like full term, but yeah, that would be my next step. And I might do that for my next one. I think I've got another sort of ½ an inch to play with though, and because very small adjustments make a big difference here, that might be all I need to do, so we'll see. But yeah, so what that does is mean that the two kind of crotch curves and the seams meet slightly further forward, and that just seems to fit me a lot better and look a lot nicer. I'm still never going to wear it without the tie because I do just look like a big red blob. I think in black that would be fine if the black one fit me, and I might have considered wearing that without the tie sometime. So yeah, those are all the adjustments that I've since made. I hope the videos make sense. And I hope that helps some of you. As I say, the best thing to do, I think, is refer to that blog post. And I'm not an expert on adjustments, so please don't ask me to show you, like, if you have a flat seat adjustment or something. I've never done that on anyone. I've got a very full bottom, so I often have to change things that way. And it seems to be a common alteration that I have to make with moving bust darts down a little bit. So I don't know what that means. I don't really care. This is one of the things I love about sewing, that I can change things to suit me. I don't even have to think about the fact that it means I've got a big bum or a saggier boobs. I don't know. I don't care. I just want my clothes to fit me and feel comfortable and look how I want them to look. And I just kind of see it as a fun problem that I can solve, if that makes sense. And new techniques that I can learn, like, great. And I'm sure my body will change loads more in the future and give me other techniques to learn as well. So this is very much a body positive channel. So let's keep these thoughts about what we, adjustments and stuff that we need to make. Let's remember that our bodies are giving us new skills to learn by being different to the pattern. Of course, all of our bodies are different to the patterns, and that's what I love about sewing, that I can take the basic pattern, it's just a starting point, and then we go from there. So yeah, a quick video today, I hope. I mean, I haven't got to editing it, but it shouldn't be as long as some of the other ones, and I hope it's been useful for some of you to learn about my different and slightly unorthodox techniques for adjusting patterns. And for everyone else, if you were thinking about making the peppermint jumpsuit, just a little word of warning, think about how you're gonna go to loo or do up the zip. Maybe you've got long arms or you're a bit of a contortionist, so you don't have to worry. Or maybe you have someone that can come to the loo with you and won't mind getting you in and out of your clothes. I don't know. But for me, it's very important that my clothes are practical as well as stylish. So that's it from me today. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. You can come and follow me on Instagram and Facebook as well, and head over to my website to sign up for my weekly newsletter. And I hope you have a fab week, and I will see you again next Sunday. Thanks for watching. Bye.